Hey there, YouTube Nation. Knife Guy Rick here with another knife review. Today we're taking a look at the Kizer Cormorant. This is a button lock knife that is manufactured and made in China by the Kizer company. I'm going to talk a little bit about the knife, kind of go into what I like and things that I might not like about the knife or I might see as an issue with the knife, and then discuss whether or not I think this knife is worth buying and worth carrying as a good EDC knife. And before I get into the specs and specifics and kind of talk through that, I'm going to go ahead and take a look here at the packaging. This is the box that it came in. I bought this knife on Amazon. So just kind of a little bit about this knife in general. I'll put it here so you're not staring at the box while I talk. But this knife's been out for about 1.5 years, and it's been pretty popular. I think it's been a knife that a lot of people have been looking at. And a big part of that has to do with the fact that it is a button knife, a button lock knife. So it's not an auto knife. You don't press this and have the knife fling out. Essentially, this button represses a spring that then releases it so it falls back in. And you could open it up that way or close it that way, but essentially it's kind of a free dropping knife to a certain degree. There's some detent on it. So we'll look at that in a little bit. So this knife had sold out. I think it hit the market, and at the time there was a lot of discussion and I think just excitement around the ProTech Malibu. ProTech is an American company that is really well known for making really high quality auto knives or switchblade knives, essentially. So auto knives, and they make models for the military as well as police and first responders and all sorts of government agencies. And they're really good at making auto knives. And with that, they made a button lock that's not an auto, it's just a button lock similar to this. And button locks aren't necessarily anything new. There isn't a patent out where only one company can make a button lock. But they made a really high quality one. I think when they first came out, they were 200, and the popularity was so crazy, they went up to 300. And with that kind of attention and popularity, a lot of other knife manufacturers out there are coming out with button locks. I know that Spyderco came out with one, the Schmock, or Smock, whatever it's called. And it's a button lock with a cliff point blade. And then there are a few Chinese-made knives that are coming out with button locks. So Kizer has I think 3 or 4 different types of button locks. And then I know We Knives is coming out with some, and I think there's some other competitors out there in the market. So when I first saw this knife and saw it on a couple of channels, I think that people were buying them, and they were hard to get. They had sold out, and then it was like 6 months until they came back in. And then I think that sold out, and then they came back in. And when they came back in, I found this on Amazon first. I guess Kizer delivers a shipment to Amazon and some of the Amazon retailers first. But maybe a few weeks after Amazon had it, and I bought this on Amazon, then everyone else had it. So it was on, Blade HQ. It was on, Knife Works, Knife Center, GP Knives, all of the main websites. So I think you can get this now. It depends on when you're watching this, and if it's sold out, don't worry. I'm sure they're going to get more in. There's 3 different designs. There's the original that has 2 X's and a couple of lines down here on both sides. It kind of looks like a skull a little bit, or kind of like an anime type character. And then there's this one that's just the lines. And then a new one came out that has 4 buttons that are similar to kind of PlayStation buttons. But to me, they also sort of look like Squid Game a little bit, like the TV series Squid Games. But I bought this one because I thought the lines look cool. It reminds me of some of the traditional knives that have just the 3 dashes in them. I've seen Benchmades and things like that that have had this in some of their military issue knives that I thought were cool. But let's take a look at the, the box that it came in. So this is the kind of box you get, and it's a nice box. It feels kind of velvety. I don't know if you can see it in this video, but it was it's a little tarnished. I don't know if it got bumped around. There it is, made in China. Or if the printing on this isn't that great. Some of the other boxes I get that are the American knives kind of have high quality printing, and it feels like it's darker. So I don't know. This could have just been poor handling. See right here, there's a couple of cool skulls on, or no, they're not skulls. They're lions with door knockers. So you open that up. It's magnetic. This fancy little thing comes out. This is, you open this up. You got a little chamois in there and some information. Open this up and read it. Again, it's the American-made knives that are getting counterfeited a lot. So, I don't think, and look, here you go. You can purchase these directly from Amazon. I think it's just showing that they do a lot of that. So it wouldn't surprise me if you can't find maybe a Kizer you're looking for. You'll also see, look, there's the screws and there's blue lock already on these. See the blue lock on them? And we'll talk about that, right? Why is this in there? Don't we already have hardware in here? So we'll talk about that a little bit as we get into the knife review. So it came inside this pouch, and I do like pouches. I think that if you're traveling and you want to throw a knife in your checked luggage or something like that, if you're going on a trip, it's nice to be able to pop it in there. Or if you're going camping and you want to throw the knife in your backpack or something, these are cool. And then it came in just a normal, just a normal plastic bag, or, like this. The knife was in it, inside here. Pretty simple. So I will say it is, I'll leave this out so we can talk about it a little bit later. But it is impressive. I mean, there is some weird lines on here, so I don't know if I just got a roughed up one or if the printing was a little, whatever. But it's kind of an impressive box. Again, you want to make sure they're putting the money in the knife and not into the box. But needless to say, if you buy one of these knives, you should expect it to come in this box. And specifically, this is for the Cormorant. I have another Kizer I purchased, and it wasn't as nice as this packaging, so this might just be for the Cormorant. So something, to know. All right, so back to the knife. Basic specifications of this knife. This blade length right here is a 3.25 inch blade. The handle is 4.125 inches, and the overall length of the entire blade, of the entire knife open, is right around just under 7.5 inches. Essentially, it's 7.4 inches, let's say. So the thickness of the handle is 1/2 inch thick, and it feels thicker than a lot of my other knives. I don't know if my other knives are more beveled around, and this still is beveled. It's not necessarily, just like a brick, but it does feel a little thicker. And I have another Kizer, and it feels a little thicker too, than most of my knives. So I don't know if that's just a Kizer thing, but that was just something that I noticed. So I think it's a very good looking knife. I like this color scheme. I like the white and black. This is G10 handles, scales right here. And it has this top layer that's got a nice texture on it. See that? And then it has the bottom layer that kind of shadow boxes it, that's in white. And I've seen videos where people have dyed these. They'll completely disassemble the knife, go down to Hobby Lobby and buy some sort of dye. You could dye it red, you could dye it blue. I saw a guy dye it red, and it looked kind of like a Deadpool sort of thing, just black and dark red, which was a cool color. I I kind of thought doing it a blue, whether a light blue or a dark blue, or even maybe a gray would be an interesting way to do it. But honestly, I like the white and black so much, and I don't really feel like spending a lot of time dyeing these scales or, you know, G10 handles, that I'm not going to do it unless the white looks really gross and I can't clean it properly to get it, you know, white again. And if it gets dingy and yellow, I might dye them. But other than that, I think it looks nice. If you look inside there, you know, the steel metal goes all the way to the end, right? So it does have those, you know, the metal backing all the way through that provides it some pretty good strength. So it feels like it's a strong EDC knife, and there's little cutouts inside of it. This weighs right around 3 ounces, maybe a little bit over, but I mean, it feels nice and light. So you can see, you know, you have these 2 tabs. So you can back flip it, front flip it, do an, you know, you press this and bring it in and out. So you could kind of flip it out like that, flip it this way, you know, flip it like that. Bear with me, but you can front flip it. Not very good at front flipping. You can Spidey flick it, you know, index finger, middle finger, whatever you want, slow roll it. It's fun, it's fidgety. And I will say, I've had this knife now for maybe 6 weeks, and I've really fidget with it a lot. And I've been lucky where nothing on it has, you know, it hasn't broken. It's still working nice. We'll get into that a little bit more. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about? The blade, yes, the blade is S35VN, and it is a flat grind satin finish. I was really impressed with the blade. I thought it looked really nice and high end. It didn't look cheap. This knife is, I got this knife for $120. It's actually, I think it's $119, something like that. I think when it first came out, it was $100. So they, you know, basically now it's, or it was $101 when it first came out. So it's $18 more than originally. With the way prices have gone up, it doesn't surprise me. To give you size comparison, here's the PM2, which is, you know, I consider to be a full-size knife. And then here is a full-size Benchmade Griptilian. So you can see it's obviously smaller than that. So let's take a look at a couple other knives that maybe it's closer in size to. And this is the lightweight Paramilitary 3. I'm going to turn it this way, so that way the pocket clips aren't really affecting the angle. And so this is the Benchmade 390, it's the 395, right? It's the Osborne design, which I think is the, yeah, it's the, I'm sorry, it's the 945. The 945 Osborne. So this one's just under, this is the mini, so the blade's just under 3 inches. This is the lightweight, so the blade's just under 3 inches. And this blade is, you know, 3 1/4. So it's a little bit longer, but you'll notice the handles, the handle is kind of the same there. You'll also notice this, you know, design of blade. So, you know, you have that reverse Tonto blade, very similar, but then you have kind of the, you know, the spider opening here, that Spidey hole. So it kind of has the best of both worlds there. I think that's one of the reasons why I really like this knife, is not only are there multiple ways to open it, but it sort of merges this reverse Tonto blade that I really like, along with the Spidey hole here, and a little bit of a larger handle. If you're looking for a knife that has to be under 3 inches, obviously this is over 3 inches, so that could be an issue. But I think it's a nice size. I think it's like an intermediate size that I think gives you a lot of flexibility. So that's something that's nice about it. So the button lock. This is my first button lock, and I like it a lot more than I thought. It almost feels like, I mean, dare I say, a gravity knife. It just sort of, you know, there's a little bit of detent there at the end, but I mean, it free drops. Look at that. I mean, all I did was just go, you know, I mean, it just, you know, it's a free dropper, which is cool. I mean, if you're in New York City and the cop stops you, it might not be so cool. But where I live, it's not really an issue. So I think this is a good steel, a good finish, a good blade, good size. The fidget factor of the, you know, having the back tab and, you know, the front tab, that little slow roll there. It's a fun knife. Now, definitely, I don't think I have any qualm. It feels good in the hand. You can get a good grip on it, you know, whatever grip you're getting. I wear a large size glove. You know, it feels good there. If you wanted to get up in there, you could. There's a little bit of a choil there. Nice jimping on top. I mean, it feels really comfortable. And it cuts. It's sharp. I haven't sharpened it. This is the original, you know, edge. And I've opened up, you know, quite a few packages and things like that. Nothing too crazy. But, I mean, it cuts through stuff really well. And so the only thing that was kind of interesting was when I got it, and I used it, this kept coming undone. And what I realized, okay, you know, you have this stuff in here, and it all has blue lock on it, you can see. So you have all your extra stuff with blue lock on it, except that pivot pin. But this is basically kind of designed as a, you know, a knife enthusiast knife. So they send you the knife. Nothing has blue lock tightening on it at all from what I can see. And you can just completely disassemble, take the knife apart, look at it, oil it, dye the handles, do whatever you want. And then, you know, take your screws right here and reassemble it with screws with blue Loctite on them. And away you go. And so if you're somebody that, you know, that's the first thing you do is you get a knife, you play with it a little bit, then you completely take it apart and put it back together. This is sort of designed for that. If you're someone that buys a knife and you don't have blue Loctite, and, you know, blue Loctite wasn't already on this center pin, you know, this thing kept coming undone. The more I played with it like this was coming undone. And as I play with it more, this, you know, just kind of opening and closing it sometimes, you know, if I'm sitting at my desk, I'm fidgeting with it a little bit. I've had this button, it kind of unscrew a little bit. And it's sort of interesting. You see here, that's how much it sticks out, which isn't a whole lot, you know, when it's in the closed position, right? But watch, I'll open it. And now look at it. See how much further it sticks out? So there it is, you know, with the blade out. And there it is with the blade in. See, it's definitely depressed more than you realize. So I thought that was interesting. I might have to put some blue Loctite on this because it's just threaded on there, you know, and you can kind of control how far it's up and down. And that can control like how well this flips out. I think it's easy to kind of get sand in there a little bit or grime, and you might need to take this apart once in a while. I've had it in my pocket quite a bit, so there's a little bit of kind of maybe a little bit of grime in there. I might want to take it apart and clean it. So if you like taking knives apart and working on them or just maintaining them, I think this is a great knife. If you bought the knife thinking it would be perfect out of the box and you wouldn't have to use any blue Loctite or anything on it, you might be a little bit disappointed. This pocket clip, I like it. I don't have any issues with it. It works inside my jeans and pants. Haven't had any problems. I like that it's a deep carry pocket clip. I will say these chrome-like clips, I find that they're shiny and they do draw attention. I mean, here you are with a deep carry pocket clip to kind of be more discreet, but this is so shiny that people kind of notice it. So that's just something to think about. You know, I'm sure you could put another pocket clip on it, or maybe you just don't care. Sometimes with this knife, I'll actually just drop it in my pocket and not even, you know, use the pocket clip. You know, but it does. I mean, it hides quite a bit. You can see. But something to remember, because it's a button, because it's a button lock, I don't know how, I mean, the deten's pretty good. But you could see if you dropped it, if you were, you know, holding it tip up like this in your pocket, and then you dropped it in, and it was jiggling around and this pressed against something and it, you know, opened like this or like this, you definitely wouldn't want to put your hand in your pocket and cut yourself. So if I'm dropping it in my pocket because it's a button lock, I'm dropping it in tip down in my pocket, and it'll just sit in my pocket tip down. And then if I want to, you know, holster it with the clip here and put it tip up on the side of my pants, I'll do that. So it just depends. But I'm extremely kind of surprised at the quality of this knife, you know, and all kind of Chinese manufactured and designed and made. They do import steel from both Japan and America. You know, it's a good quality knife, and for $120, it's kind of hard to beat. The people really like these knives. They sell out. It's hard to get a hold of them. So I think if you're watching this and you've been thinking about it, or you're new to button locks, this is a great way to get into it without spending $300 on a Malibu or $250, you know, on a Spyderco Smock, or, you know, any of those kind of higher end ones. And I think the quality of this is better than some of the $50, $60 button locks that some of the other companies are coming out with. So if you're new to button locks and you want to try one and you want a good quality knife, I think this is a great way to go. I definitely would suggest it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this review of the Kizer Cormorant, and definitely like, subscribe, all that stuff. And as always, you stay sharp out there.